Someone had asked me to talk about some of the silliness. I'll call it that. Silliness of audio in general, but specifically car audio. One of my biggest pet peeves is stuffing. So stuffing. Does stuffing change the parameters? Yes. If you put anything inside of an enclosure, it's going to change what the woofer does. Does it make a difference in sound? That's what's funny is people say that it makes a difference. And when you buy an enclosure from, a big brand like Kenwood or Kicker or JL Audio, guess what's inside? Polyfill stuffing, right? And why do they put it in there? Mostly because that's what people expect. It has nothing to do with acoustics. Think about this for a second. You're telling me that a sealed box, right, closed off to the world, if you put some magic polyester in there, that somehow it tricks the woofer into thinking that the enclosure is bigger and actually changes the physical characteristics of the subwoofer by adding more stuff into a sealed box. You're an idiot. Think about it, and believe me, I believe the same thing. When my friend Chris Johnson told it to me because he had heard it from somebody else, he says it tricks the woofer into thinking that the air is warmer inside the box, and it warms the air, and the air expands, and then the woofer thinks it's in a bigger box and plays better. That is such a load of bullshit. And what's funny is I actually tracked it down. I apologize, I do not have the article that was in Speaker Builder magazine that really kind of put this to rest. And it was in the 90s, but they tested it. Of course, it failed completely. Do people hear a difference? Yes. Typically, it's a higher pitched bass because you're taking up more volume, and the woofer can't play as low because it's the VAS. It's not very complicated. It's just that your woofer's not going to warm up that air. If it is, it's by a micro degree of temperature. And really, if you really want to get the most out of your woofers, and again, a lot of these wives' tales come from the East Coast. This country comes from the East Coast. Technology schools all come from the East Coast. Guess what's on the East Coast? It's cold. And so in the cold, I can see where somebody might observe that phenomena, but it's actually not. What works really good in cold weather is just warming up your vehicle, right? Warming up the air inside your cabin, which then warms up the suspension of the woofer, which allows the woofer to play normally. And then the air is at a normal, specific gravity, in order to translate bass to your eardrums, which then go to your brain. So, but really quick story. Nick Riley, he was like a mentor to me. He was actually a sales guy at not MCM, what was it? M&M Electronics, which was a distributor out of Texas. It was like Wholesale House, but out of Texas. And he was telling me the story about Acousta Stuf. Acousta Stuf was a really neat. And I talked to the guy. So the guy, just some guy that lives with his mom, and there happens to be a what was it called? A polyester manufacturer near him, and he was asking for like scraps or whatever to test. He was a transmission line guy, and so he was playing with transmission line stuff, and he actually wrote a DOS program that helped you calculate stuffing density. I have never used the program, but I did buy it. Because I wanted to support him, but he told me the story of Acousta Stuf. The story of Acousta Stuf is he was getting a deal on a whole bale of polyester stuffing that got overcooked. So, and what happened was it got a little crispy and it stuck together like wool. And so he started marketing it, and he started selling it to Parts Express. Parts Express started buying the shit out of it, and then they bought the whole brand. He sold the whole brand to them, and now Acousta Stuf is owned by Parts Express Incorporated, and they sell the magic stuff. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's bullshit. But Parts Express is a great place, and they gotta pay bills, and if it's one of those things, it's like religion. It's like. Oh, you can feel the spirit? Oh yeah, I can feel the spirit too. And And that's one of the reasons why, if you remember in the Bible, Jesus got a little pissed off at people because there's a bunch of greedy ass money changers that were like, well, you know, this pure white dove is like 20 shekels. But, you know, if you buy a spotted one, I can give you a good deal on like maybe 13 shekels. And they were taking advantage of people's belief that they needed to sacrifice, you know, like this was an expense, and they were just taking advantage of people. It's terrible. That's the worst thing that you can do for people. And that's why I've dedicated my goddamn life doing this dumb thing of telling people that the emperor has no clothes. No clothes. He's naked. You can see him up there. He's got no fucking chonies on. He's got a little wiener. It's like a little acorn. There's no clothes. There's not any new clothes. They're invisible. He's not wearing any clothes. There's clothes that are not invisible. So, yeah, right there. Look, $38 for, you know, use the pillow that your dogs sleep on. That's great polyester fill if you want to use it. But guess what? You don't even need it. And you kind of only need it in like transmission lines. And again, transmission lines are only for like a 6-inch or an 8-inch that you want to use in a 2-way, and you want to make it sound greater and bolder than it really is. But you can actually do the same thing with just a ported box that's properly, you know, designed. But anyways, there are lots of dumb things that the audio industry has turned into a profit. And I would love to hear from you on stuff that you suspect but aren't sure. And so we can do like a really generic, super zero budget version of Mythbusters. So thanks.